Hey, what's going on? You're now tuned in to the PVD Horror Podcast. I'm Brandon, and I'm joined by my co-host Dave, and we're back for a special episode because this is the end of the year recap for 2025. It was a crazy year. What did you think
It was
about
a it was a long year.
it
I felt
was?
like it lasted forever and it was a dumpster fire
Mm,
throughout. Not a great
yeah,
year.
it was good. I think for me, I think it was the last 3 months of it that kind of just fell apart. But that's life, and I'm pretty sure everybody out there listening, had their own things going on. So. I think that overall, it's a tricky year. It was a tricky year. I'd seen a lot of memes out there where it was saying that this year felt like it was like split in two, like it was
Mm.
two different years. It's kind of like a show, like a series where it's like split in half and it's like come back later. You know what I mean?
Stranger Things, chapter one and chapter two, or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It was consistently. It was a weird year, actually. I guess you're right.
Mm,
Like there was some ups and downs. The
hmm.
downs kind of the thing that always stick out to you the most, I guess. Um, and they were definitely trickled in throughout the year. But yeah, there were definitely some highlights.
Yeah.
And in the horror film world, I guess we had
Hmm.
plenty to throughout the year. We definitely were not short on horror movies. Um, so yeah, I don't, as you were doing this recap, did anything stick as you were like looking at all the films that came out this year? Was it
Hmm.
that I said like the year felt really long. Were you kind of surprised, like, oh wow, that was this year when you looked at some of the early films?
Yeah, especially like the films that came out in like January, and I think we always run into that. And
Yeah,
so this year was definitely a little different for me because I think at the same time for everyone, because you know how Fangoria they split their awards show
yep,
up, you know what I mean, from a certain time period. And so like we still had like the substance inside, like, running with films that came out this year. And so it was weird. So
yeah. And the other part of this is as I was looking to make my top 10,
mhm,
quantity was there for me personally, and this is probably a hot take. I don't
mhm.
know that I was like satisfied with the quality of the films. Not meaning like they weren't made
Yeah.
well. I just don't know that I loved a ton of films this year.
Yeah, I think it just came out to the point where it was just like, all right, we're gonna release this. I think it was
Yeah,
just like a lot of them were cash grabs, like you know what I mean. So it's
right.
like, um, I had a good time with a lot of films. You know what I mean,
Sure.
being able to go experience them on the big screen, and and another thing too for me, like going to the film festival, so
Yeah,
was able to see some films before they came out, and I still have some films that come out in 2026 that I've already
right.
seen. So it's like, oh wait a minute, yeah, I gotta like split these up. So it's kind of hard.
I feel like this is a benchmarker that is somewhat important to us, and
Mm,
maybe for other people, they probably don't give a shit. But
yeah.
when you start to be able to go to the film festivals or get
Hmm.
even virtually now is an option, which is cool. So like I had that opportunity a couple of times when I wasn't able to go
Hmm.
to be able to check out some of these films. So I think for us as like film reviewers and movie content creators, like that's kind of a big deal for us to be in that category of media that gets to see these advanced screenings and things like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is like puts us in this category where now we have to also highlight to people like I liked this film, but you won't be able to see it until, this
Hmm.
date. Like, you've talked about Primate months ago, and then we're talking about
Yeah.
it releasing in a couple of weeks for
Hmm.
a January screening. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
definitely. Like you said, it was just a real busy year, and you look at the list of all the films we got, you know what I mean? It's like for big names that came out, or even stuff that just came out on Shudder. And it was
yeah,
cool to see like some films that were on Shudder to hit the big screen. So,
absolutely.
that was cool. So, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. All right. So we're going to do three different categories here. Of course, we're going to talk about the top 10 of the year, which
Mhm.
everybody is going to be doing over the next couple of weeks. I'm sure you guys have already heard people's recaps and all that stuff. So we wanted to add in a few other categories. So we got honorable mentions. So those are films that we enjoyed, but for whatever reason, just couldn't make our top 10.
Mhm.
Um, or not even that, like they couldn't make the top 10. Maybe there were films that we just were surprised at how much we enjoyed them because we maybe thought they were going to be, we had low expectations for them, we'll put it that way.
Yeah.
And then biggest disappointments of 2025. And I wanted to specify that doesn't mean that these are bad movies,
Mm,
because as Brandon will often say, like we don't like to just shit on movies because a lot of effort and heart and passion goes into filmmaking. But we will say for these films, these were ones that didn't match our excitement, and just were kind of letdowns for us personally.
mm.
Um, so yeah, that's going to be this episode, and we'll see how this goes. I am I'm really excited to hear your list for the top 10, because I
Hmm.
think this is going to be a year where we're probably going to have a couple matching, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's a few that we are just totally not on the same page here with.
Yeah. I think we're usually sometimes like that. I think it's probably what, like three films off. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So it's not
yeah.
bad.
I'm curious about this year if it will be more or not.
Hmm.
And then I did make a little list of, just for full transparency, all the films I didn't get to this year. I was doing a really good job, and then the last probably 3 months, for me, I fell off with going to the theater. It's just
Mm.
been really busy for me, so there was a number of films I didn't even get a chance to check out that probably could have made my list.
Your list. Yeah.
So I'll
So
just say that.
so so let's start with biggest disappointments first then.
You want to start with that? Let's
We
do
can't
it.
jump right into
All right. I like it. So, do you want to go first, or do you want me?
you can go first.
Okay. Well, let me ask you this: how many films are on your disappointments list?
I don't have many, but just kind of like looking at the list of like the films that we do have, like I don't have many that was like disappointed. Like I think I've talked about a few films already before, but like
Yes.
going back and forth to like check it, like rewatching them and stuff, I gave them another chance. So let's see what you got.
Okay. All right. So I actually have 10 that made my disappointments list. And
Yeah.
the first one I want to talk about, I already mentioned it, I think, one of our last episodes was The
Hmm.
Conjuring Last Rites. So I'll get that one out of the way. I think we
Yeah.
mentioned that on the fall recap.
Yeah.
That one just didn't do it for me. It was too like family drama style. I just really wasn't that invested in the film as I'm watching it. The family that was haunted, I just didn't care about them enough to care about the haunting. It just didn't do it for me. I felt like, I don't know, there was an angle they could have gone that would have been way more interesting. Um, but I understand some people were satisfied with it. They felt like it was, a good departure for the franchise. I don't know.
Hmm.
It's not for me.
I agree on that. I agree. But I seen it
Okay.
in IMAX, so the experience was a little bit different.
Yep.
So
Um, Next one, I think you're going to be on the same page with me on this one. Black Phone 2.
I think that was the main thing. I had watched it. I had watched it at the premiere, and then going back and rewatching it, I kind of enjoyed it a little bit more watching it the second time because overall, like I said before, it was like it took the whole vibe from Nightmare on Elm Street,
Yeah,
but it was darker than the first film because every time like the kills would happen, it would just kind of like look away. Like this time, it would like kind of like show
sure.
more, it would show a little bit more, and so I appreciated that. I think going back and rewatching it, it was just like, all right, I appreciate that. That's about it.
There was some creepy factor to it. I will
Yeah.
give it that. I liked the when they would do like her dreams and the grainy, like
Hmm.
he's chasing the kids in the woods. That was creepy. I liked that.
No.
Didn't really like how little of the grabber we got. It felt like it
Hmm.
took a while for him to finally appear, and then it's
Yeah.
like, you see him, and I just wanted more of him. I thought there would be more of him from the previews.
Hmm.
Seeing him ice skate, it reminded me of the film Curtains, which Joe Bob just recently showed. I was like, but I don't know. I just, yeah, it wasn't for me. I
Hmm.
realized, you know what? Like I can say I like Black Phone 1. I don't, it's not one of my top films, and I definitely liked this one significantly less. So
Mm.
Fear Street Prom Night was a disappointment for me. it was just like had no substance. I don't know. It
Mm.
was just a film to watch, and I was really really excited for that, just based on the Fear Street trilogy and things like that. You're not gonna like this. VHS Halloween.
You didn't like that?
I liked well, it's not that again, it's not that I didn't like it. The
Mm.
first segment I enjoyed. After that, there wasn't really any other segments that grabbed me. Um I think it would have been fun to watch it with other people, and I can see
Mm.
why that experience would be something would have made it a little bit better. Watching it at home alone, it didn't have that for me, and definitely liked the previous entries better, even the one that everybody didn't like.
You like that one better?
I think so.
I think for me, I think this was like one of the most complete ones that was like released in a while. You know what I mean? I think there was a lot of good segments, but
The
hey, it's
candy
a,
one was
I think overall, like I said, like when it comes down to it, the experience and everything, being
yeah,
able to watch it at Fantastic Fest,
yeah.
having everyone there, like being able to trick or treat before the film, you know what I mean? And
Oh,
then
100%. It's an
I think
experience.
yeah, it was good. I liked it. That's
Yeah.
good.
Like I said, it's more about meeting expectations,
Mm,
and I watched it and I was like, oh, all right. Um, Megan 2.0, literal trash. Obviously, don't even have to say anything about that.
yeah.
All right, here's one that pains me so much to even say this out loud.
Mm,
And I already shared this with you off air. Hell House LLC Lineage.
yeah.
Again, I'm not saying these are bad films. I love that franchise so much, and watching that, it took a different turn. It was a departure from the previous style of the films and stuff like that, and it just didn't work for me. I'm not saying it's a bad film. I was so excited for that one, so I should have tapered my expectations.
Mm,
I even saw Steven uh, the director.
okay.
I saw him even say to like he had made a statement on like X or something like that. Like, I apologize for people who were expecting something different from this or something along those lines. So I think I'm not alone in that opinion, but just wasn't what I wanted it to be. But not a bad film. Not a bad film. The Monkey, I will say I liked the first half of that film, and the second half just lost me completely. I liked Fight Club, and I can, just watch Fight Club again if I want to see a film like that. So yeah, that and it just yeah, it was kind of like the first half was like sort of funny, mean funny, and then the second
Mm,
half is just like mean spirited. I just didn't like it. It kind of gave me a weird feeling that just I really couldn't wait for that to be over. Um,
mm,
I know you did last summer. Didn't I actually I shouldn't even say that's a disappointment because I didn't expect anything from it, but it was probably
mhm,
worse than I even expected. And then here's one. I actually like this film. So again, I'm just saying it didn't meet my expectations. Ash.
mm,
I liked it, but it wasn't what I wanted it to be. But I still will say I enjoyed the film. It's kind of like slow paced. So if you're not
yeah.
into that kind of style, you're probably not going to make it through. I felt like there could have been something, a different angle to take with it or something like that. But it just, again, it's kind of a weird thing to say to put it on this list, but also say I enjoyed it. It just wasn't what I wanted it to be, but definitely worth watching.
Yeah. See, I think for me, I was able to watch that in the theater. So it was a different experience,
Yeah.
and so like visually, like it looks great.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like you said, yeah, the pacing is really slow, but
It's
overall,
yeah, there's a lot of impressive things about it. Like,
yeah.
yeah, you said like the visuals are great.
Hmm.
The just the sound and everything in it, there's so much there. I guess it just would have benefited from a little bit more dialogue and in some scenes, and just kind of like speeding things up a little bit more. It
Mm,
kind of felt like you're playing a guessing game.
yeah, I
All
definitely
right.
agree.
The only one I didn't bother to mention because I just realized that it doesn't really match what I'm saying was Drop was another one, but I didn't have any
Drop.
expectation for that. I just didn't care for it, so I just wanted to
Yeah.
talk shit about it. So
I thought Drop was decent. It was
I
decent.
I think I'm on an island with that. I actually see a lot of people say they enjoyed it. I
Yeah, it
just
wasn't. I think that's the main thing going into that film. It was just like, just something different. I mean, they took the
Yeah.
opportunity and kind of went with it, with the dating services and stuff like that. And but who is it? So I thought
Yeah,
overall it
exactly.
was a fun film, but yeah, nothing great, but I agree.
I I actually hate that I just did the disappointments list because now I feel like I'm gonna get a ton of like backlash on some of these opinions because I just shit on a ton of films and said right before that I don't like to shit on films. But yeah, so
Oh,
that's my list.
yeah. Well, I'll start mine off now. So I think
Okay.
for me, like one of the biggest letdowns was Keeper. Keeper did not hold up to what it was supposed to be, and I think a lot of people kind of had gone into it thinking this is an Osgood Perkins film. He was the director of it, so it's
Hmm.
like, overall, but I think that's the main thing. You stamp your name on it, and this is what you get, the backlash, because everybody's gonna think that you're a part of this, like like you made this film. But yeah, for me, it didn't go the way that I thought was gonna be. You know what I mean? And seeing the previews and seeing him at Comic-Con and talking about the film and everything, I think it just didn't match up to where I'd gone. Have you watched it yet?
I did a toss up this weekend and I went with Black Phone 2 instead of Keeper.
Mm,
So I didn't get to it yet. That is probably get to it next week. But honestly, my expectations are super tapered because
yeah.
of feedback I've heard about it. And I have a feeling I've watched enough now of the previews
Hmm.
or seen like clips to think that it's not what I initially thought it was supposed to be. And I think that's
Yeah.
probably what is catching people off guard or whatever.
And it's definitely a toss up too, because I think there's a lot of people out there that like it, but that's what every film, you know what I mean? I think that
I mean, look at
overall,
us with long legs. We're like so it feels like we're in the minority with that one.
mm,
And because we're, surrounded by people that are constantly saying like their opinions about that, and we like that film
yeah.
quite a bit.
Yeah. And then the next film you had brought that up was I Know What You Did Last Summer. To me, it was like really lazy,
Yeah,
and it
it's
was
a good
just
way to
kind of
put it.
like, I was just like, what's going on here? Like, what are we doing? Is
Yeah.
this like a remake, a reboot, or what? Because these characters are playing the same exact characters from the first film.
The whole freaking film
A
is,
legacy
yeah,
sequel.
it's crazy.
Mm,
And yeah, it absolutely doesn't make sense. Jennifer Love Hewitt got done dirty with her role in that.
mm,
Just like making her the cheesiest
yeah.
version of herself. It's just almost like she's like a caricature of herself. Yeah,
Hmm.
it's kind of embarrassing.
Yeah, I don't know what they were doing, and I think they're gonna make a sequel. So,
I bet they are. It's crazy because when I watched that, I didn't realize the guy from Him is in that film too,
yeah,
and he's way better in Him than he is in that
yeah.
film.
Yeah, because
So
that's the thing. It was like he was playing the same exact character from the first one. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So it was
you're
just
right.
like, I don't know. It was just like, give these characters like a new role. Like, you know what I mean? Like, why is everything like step by step? You know what I mean? Taking
Right.
on what they did in the original. So I don't know. I don't even want to waste my time on this anymore. Uh, Definitely, yeah, Megan 2.0. It was kind of like, what are you doing? And then we talked about this
Oh
before.
boy, yeah.
It was like, this is your second film, you know what I mean? And then so uh I don't know what they were trying to do, but they definitely lost me because it's like I had said before, you have to go that same road that Child's Play 2 had gone. Like you can have fun, but don't go off the
Yeah.
tracks. And it was
People
just
wanted to see horror. They didn't
yeah,
want to see what they got, and it
Terminator
sucks.
2,
Right. And
Terminator
it,
uh
it sucks because they now ruined the Soulmate spin-off, which I actually think could have been fun to watch.
mm,
Kind of like an adult version of these dolls or whatever. Like I think that could have been a fun thing. And now
mm,
because of the reception to this, they're not moving forward with that, or it's getting shopped around. Um, which it's unfortunate.
yeah. And so my next film, let's see, what are we gonna roll with next? I'll give it to you. Fear Street, Prom Night.
Okay. Yeah, I never
Th-
actually talked to you about that, so I didn't really get your
Yeah,
what
I
it
didn't
was.
really care for it. I remember I think I was like working out when I was watching it while I was running, and it definitely didn't grab me like the other films had
Yeah,
did. You know what I mean? So it was definitely a letdown. But like at the same time, I think we kind of, you know, edge ourselves into that. Like, what's next? Like, you know what I mean? Because now it's just a money grab. Because before it was a trilogy, and then now it's just like it could have been so much better, but they had the opportunity to just focus on one title,
right.
and it didn't go that way. So I don't know.
With that being said, I still want them to do more. Like I want
Well,
more Fair Street films. I just
mm,
yeah, do better than that one. But yeah, I still would like to see more.
yeah. And the next one is 28 years later. That was a disappointment for me. You know what I mean? And I know a lot of people out there like it. I think it's on their top film list. But for me, going into it from the first two films into
Sure.
this, it was just like, what is going on? And
Yeah.
then it was just like a couple weeks after we had gotten that film, we get a new trailer for the new film. So,
Insane how fast it's all moving.
but I have to say, like, you know what I mean? Even though it was a letdown, the last what 5 minutes of the film kind of set me up to see what they are going to do next. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
I can't sit there and say, oh, that last 5 minutes made me stamp it and say, hey, I enjoyed that movie because I didn't.
Sure.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
It had its moments. It had its moments that were like decent, but yeah, it was kind of a letdown. Uh, Presence. That was also a letdown. Did you watch that?
Yeah.
What did you think?
So it made my honorable mentions. So it didn't
Mm,
make my top 10. I started off the hating that film as I was watching it. I was like, this is silly. What are we doing
yeah.
here? As the film went on, it kind of grabbed me. There was some things that some angles it took, and with the story, it was actually more. I think I appreciated the story more than the thing they were trying to do with the long shots and things like that. So by the end of the film, I stopped it and I was like, all right, you know what? I actually kind of can say I enjoyed that.
Mm,
It's definitely interesting. One I would tell people, you should check out if you're looking for something different. But from what it was, presented to us as, it definitely like if I remember that month when the people were talking about it, yeah, it wasn't as good as I was
yeah.
thinking. I didn't real and it's like, what is it, filmed on iPhone?
I think it was. But that's the thing. Overall, you have like a good cast of, people. Was that Lucy Liu was in there and then the guy
Yeah,
from
that show.
yeah, Us. No, yeah.
This Is Us.
This Is Us, yeah.
The girl was
So,
a great actor. The daughter, she
yeah.
was really good. The guy was creepy. The friend that
Mm,
comes over. It felt like a play. That's what it was. It felt like you were watching like a theater play or something like that. Maybe
mm,
that's what they were going for. I don't know. But yeah, like story wise, I kind of enjoyed that. It just it was weird.
yeah. And my next film, I hate to do this, but him. Like, you know what I mean? It wasn't that I don't know what was going on with that film.
Hmm.
It wasn't it was decent, like the visuals were great.
Yep.
Marlon Wayans did great, but to sit there and say that it was a great film, no, I was kind of let down by it because I wanted to see like the full cast kind of just do their thing, and it was another situation where it's like Jordan Peele's name is stamped on it,
Yeah, for sure.
and then it's like he's just a director also. So it's like I think they have to kind of pull that back, like Osgood Perkins, Jordan Peele, just put Monkey Paw, the creators, you know what I mean? But you don't have to put their name like fully on it because and then now you put that in their catalog and it's like people are gonna sit there and question it and say, okay, well, this was a bad one. So
Right.
overall, like I said, there was. there was good things about the film, but it just didn't take off the way it should have. Like the
Sure.
promotion and everything was like really good. They had a lot of good things, but yeah, nothing crazy.
Okay.
Now, did you see it in theaters or no?
No, I saw it at home.
Yeah, okay. I was able
And
to check it
I
out on IMAX.
Okay, that would probably be amazing to see it in
Yeah.
IMAX because the visuals in that film are really, really good.
Hmm.
Um, so that is that your disappointments list? Are you any more that you
Yeah.
want to add to that?
I'm good with that.
Okay. I mean, in all honesty, those are like the films that we just named are all films that were pretty highly promoted throughout the year. So
Mm.
I mean, those are all big names or big hits, I guess you would say. So that was kind of unfortunate to have a number of films, not match what our expectation levels were. With that being said, maybe I'll can do the honorable mentions now. So
Sounds
just the
good.
films that didn't make our top tens, but definitely worth checking out if you didn't get around to them. So I already, mentioned I watched Presents that did make my honorable mentions just because I thought it
Mm.
was unique. I'm not going to say it was like a film that everybody's going to enjoy because a lot of people are probably going to hate it. But if you think you're into something, you want to watch something different, I think with a good story, I definitely think that one could be one for you. 28 years later, I decided to put it on my honorable mentions. I was kind of going back and forth about, and this kind of like speaks to the way I've viewed films this year. If it was going to be on my top 10 list, and then last minute,
Mm.
I just decided I think it should be on my honorable mentions because I also sat there for a large portion of that film saying, "What am I watching? Like, what are
Mm.
they doing here?" But then there would always be the scene that would get you back into it, and then it would kind of go back into something cheesy. Like the best way to describe it is that scene where the boy is like, what was he gets the skull and it's like
Yeah.
this tearjerker scene that's like kind of representative of fatherhood, and it was a really emotional and impactful scene. And then they just extended it too long, and they have this cheesy moment where he puts the skull on the top of the bone tower, and it's like, what the like? Why are you doing this? They just didn't know when to stop. It felt like at times, and like what that line was of when something becomes cheesy. So yeah,
Yeah.
honorable
Yeah.
mention. Not a
Even
bad film, but
the character development in that film wasn't, it was just like I didn't care for anyone.
right.
You know what I mean? I think the only person I cared for was like the kid that was like the soldier that had the mask on and then everything
Oh,
like
because he was
he
funny.
was
Yeah.
funny.
Right. Right.
But then it was like other than that, there was just like I didn't care for anyone in this
I mean,
film.
even Ralph Fiennes, like we didn't really get attached to him. Like we got to
Hmm.
learn a little bit about him. We know he's like sort of a good guy. Apparently, I know we'll learn more about him, but I didn't leave there feeling like, oh, he was a great actor. But in the film, like
Yeah.
I didn't feel like his character I was like super attached to or anything like that.
Hmm.
Um, him made my honorable mentions. I actually liked it way more than I thought I was going to, and maybe that's because everybody had been saying that they didn't care for it, so I didn't think I was going to like it at all. Um, I don't know, Brandon. Like, for story wise, I thought that I was like kind of a cool thing to explore, just like people selling their soul and what the extent people will go to like I could picture Tom Brady like has probably drank
Oh
some
yeah.
like old players' blood to stay young or something like that. You know what I mean? Like just that extent and that passion to like how like Marlon Wayne says this thing where he's like most people it's God, family,
Mm.
everything else or something, but for him it's like him, God, and then family or something like that. I don't know, just like, but it just really kind of he was incredible in it, and I just really
Yeah.
think like they got the storyline really caught me because it was something that you don't really see enough about people just how far they're willing to go.
But that's the thing. It's like, for me, like yeah, it was a really good storyline, but I feel as though it was too much. It was just in that 2 week, what is it, a week or two time period on
Yeah,
training camp.
yeah, right,
Like,
right.
what I mean? If that were to like evolve and go to the season when he was drafted and everything a little bit more, and then like going throughout like a full, calendar year of like,
Yeah, they could have expanded it for
yeah,
sure.
and then you see how him getting into that role, how it affects his actual performance as a player in his career. And
Yeah,
it just didn't really focus on that as much. And so you kind of it loses you.
the
Especially like
whole cult like secret
Yeah.
society thing kind of was like a detour that I don't think they even needed to take that
Mm.
route to have that secret society. I mean, it's obviously an important element, but they probably could have done something different and it would have still, or maybe even landed better for some people.
Because that's the thing. It's like you go into it, like, you can explore the other sides of it, like parties that he could
Yeah,
have gone to
right.
and stuff like that. And so to me, it was just like, all right, well, it just kind of got stuck on that practice sequence thing that they had, and it's just kind of like, it was
So
all right.
I think the thing that people should be hearing, if anyone's listening or watching that actually makes films,
Mm,
obviously we want to see some sports horror. I don't think
yeah.
there's enough. Like there is a whole like world out there that they could definitely like dive into that I think would capture, our interest because it's something that you don't see a ton of.
Yeah, give me a Remember the Titans horror film or Friday
Yeah.
Night Lights horror film.
I
Like,
mean, the fan is a great premise. Like the
oh
what is it,
yeah.
Robert De Niro, and
C-
um,
I think the last Boy Scout gave us more, action. We
yeah,
got Damon
sure.
Wayans and Adam Sandler.
Oh, that opening scene when he like gets a touchdown and then shoots himself. Oh my God, I'll never forget that.
Nah.
That was crazy. Um, all right, and then I just got three more quick ones. Here's one that surprised the hell out of me. Until Dawn, we talked about
Mm,
this on here. That honestly, that could have made my top 10,
yeah.
possibly. That was one I was kind of teetering on. And it's so funny because it's a movie that was not really talked about. I didn't really hear whether people liked it, disliked it. I know it's a video
Hmm.
game, so it's hard to like please that audience. But it was a great popcorn film, just
Yeah.
like kill after kill of crazy ways, and you didn't think too hard when you're watching it. It just was what it was, and I had a great time watching it. And
Yeah.
yeah, I kind of wish there was more of that this year. Clown in a Cornfield, obviously we read the book, so watching the movie, we were comparing the whole time, but I enjoyed it. I enjoyed doing that. Um, can't wait for the next installment in that one. And then I've talked about this. I did a review for this one. Your Host. It had
Hmm.
Jackie Earl Haley, is that his name? Played Freddy Krueger in the remake.
Yep.
He plays like Jigsaw character in that film. I don't think it made it to theaters. I could be wrong, or if it did, it was very limited. But if you get a chance, watch that. It's like Saw, but different. What's that? Death to Smoochie meets
Death
Saw or something
Smoothie.
like that. It's something. It's interesting, and he
Hmm.
just eats up the camera and the whole in the throughout the whole thing. So, yeah, that's my honorable mentions.
There we go. And same for me. Clown in the Cornfield. Um, I expected a little bit more, but it was, it is what it is. At the same time, you can't get everything from a book like you had talked about Until
Mhm.
Dawn, a video game. It's so, and that's another one for me too, Until Dawn. To take, let's see, what the book could probably be, what, like 8 hours to read the full
Yeah,
thing. Until Dawn is a video game with over, 20 hours of gameplay. Like, how are you going to break all that down into like an hour and 45-minute film? You know what I mean?
yeah, right,
So
exactly.
you're not going to get everything. So it's like, I think we're at that state, of everything where we understand and we're not going to always sit there and say, okay, this is what it is. And I think if you want to get those things, like I think Until Dawn should definitely be like a TV show. I think that they should do
Sure.
that for all games that they want to turn into films. Just do it like a TV show, kind of like they did with The Last of Us. The Last of Us season two took a different twist because they were trying to um, stick to the script and then also try to play off of it at the same time. And so you kind of lose it. So it's like, you have to do one or the other. You have to stay on the main target. If you're going to sit there and go straight what's going on in the game, you have to stay on that path. And I think that's what a lot of people did not appreciate about Until Dawn because it's
Mhm.
so different from the game. I think the game is have you played it before? You played it before, right?
I did. I didn't get very far, but I
Okay.
played
So
for
yeah,
a few hours. Yeah.
I think the video game story itself is just so strong because it's like one of those. you make the choice and
Yeah,
then this happens or whatever. But so now you're like I said, you have that short amount of time and you're trying to sit there and place that all in. You're not gonna get what you want. But overall, it was a fun film. You know what I mean?
for sure. Yep.
And my next one was Death of a Unicorn. It was a decent film, nothing crazy. Um, I thought it could would be a little bit better, but
Yeah.
I think that overall, you have Jenna Ortega and Paul Rudd is definitely something to check out. Some of the kills and definitely were worth it. Have you seen it before, right?
I didn't finish it. I made it like three quarters and I didn't finish it, but what I saw, I got the gist. And
Yeah,
yeah, it was fine. It was kind of it didn't go too far into comedy, it didn't go too far into horror. It was just an exploration of like shitty people, I guess. And
yeah,
so I kind of got the gist and I was like, all right, that's good. That's good. I don't I just never had the motivation to go back to finish it.
yeah. And then my next one, I think it's Predator Badlands. I think that was
Oh, sorry. I meant to press mute. I pressed pause.
the next one is Predator Badlands. I think overall it was a good visual film, but like I said before, I'm not really a big fan of like a lot of the Predator movies that kind of like fall off from the originals. But I think this was something decent. I was able to check this out at the X Plus theater. So with the Dolby sound and everything like that, it was fun. But I would definitely say check it out. Nothing crazy though,
More
but
action, would you say? Or
yeah, it was action. I think a lot of people enjoyed Prey better than this, and so you liked Prey, right?
yeah, I liked Prey, but like you said, it's like Predator is not like my favorite
Yeah,
franchise. I could take it or leave it sometimes.
yeah. So yeah, that's those are my mentions right there. So
Okay.
nothing crazy.
Okay. All right. So that moves us on to our final and the big ones, obviously the top 10 lists here.
Hmm.
So how do you want to work this, Brandon? We probably should have talked about that before before we started filming. You want to go one at a time? What do you want to do?
We can go back and forth because I'll sit there and go. I think overall we can kind of like map this down. So as soon
All
as
right.
you kind of like say your film, because we have like the same ones, and then we can kind of like
Got
kind
it.
of like go off of that. I'll tell
All
you what
right.
my
I'll
other
kind
ones
of
are a
go in
little
reverse
different.
order too,
All
instead of
right.
going from one down. All right. And I guess I mean I tried to put them in order, but like a lot of these are
Mm-hmm.
interchangeable. All right. So I'm gonna start my list with a film that most people are not going to put on their list, but I did enjoy it. And it was one of the first films of the year for me. It was Wolfman.
Mm.
I know a lot of people didn't care for it. There was some things I didn't care for in it, but at the end of the day, I enjoyed the film. I actually rewatched it, so that says something about it. And yeah, was it the Wolfman I wanted? Not necessarily, but it was a Wolfman, and I do love the Wolfman. It was something to watch, and there was some positive elements to it.
Mm.
I'm going to assume that didn't make your top 10.
Not at all.
Not at all. Did you not like it?
Oh no, I thought it was decent, but it
Yeah.
wasn't. It was nothing crazy.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
There was
that's.
like three or four films that could have gone in that slot. I
Hmm.
kind like I said, kind of last minute took 28 years later out and put Wolfman in because I think at the end of the day I might have enjoyed Wolfman a little bit more than 28 years later.
Mm.
Um, but also maybe I didn't. I don't know. That felt like it was a year, a long time ago. So yeah.
All right, I agree with that. I agree. So for my number 10 film,
Mm-hmm.
I would go with, let's see. Hmm. I would go with Shelby Oaks.
Oh, okay.
It's not perfect, whatever, but
Yeah,
it's like I'll slide that in at 10. Like, cause
sure.
honestly, I would rather go with like a top five because this year is like so
I
kind of like weird.
completely
So it's
agree.
like it feels like it's being forced.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So it's like so don't think that like oh this is like one of my greatest films or something
This
like
is
that.
one
But
of Brandon's greatest films.
It's
Shelby.
up there. No,
I no, actually, that could have made my top 10 for the same exact reason. And also, I really liked the first half of the film
half
or
of it was,
quarter or whatever it is where they do the
yeah.
found footage. If they just stuck with that the whole way, would have even it would have been an awesome to me. Um, but yeah, I agree.
There we go. Well, you got at 9.
Heart Eyes, which
Hard
I
eyes.
kind of forgot was even this year. But yeah, that came out around
Mm,
Valentine's Day, obviously, and I enjoyed it in the theater. I haven't rewatched it, but
yeah.
in the theater, it was a good experience. It was funny. It was, you know, I guess what you would want from a horror comedy that didn't really brand itself as a horror comedy until it came out and everyone kind of figured out, oh, this is more of a comedy.
Mm,
I think going into it, we kind of thought this was like going to be Valentine,
yeah.
this year's Valentine. So
Hmm.
that was, I would have preferred it to not be a horror comedy, but I think it did well with what it was.
Yeah.
The characters were likable in like that, with I felt like their chemistry was enjoyable to watch. Yeah, I didn't really have too much bad to say about it. It just kind of, was what it was.
Yeah, I agree. That'll fall for my number 9 as well. Um, I think overall, it's something that we always talk about, holiday horror. It's
Yep.
gonna be something that's gonna stick around. Like, you know what I mean? I think that just kind of like, even when Valentine came out, it wasn't like, oh, this is the greatest movie ever. It that took years to kind of fall
Yeah.
into the that where it's at. And I think that this might too. This might fall into that because now you have Mason Gooding, he's part of the Scream franchise, and so
Yeah.
now people are going to be able to connect that all together. And so, just having a good time. I think that overall, um, yeah, I think it's a fun movie. Like you said, the theater experience was great. When I had gone, they had the Valentine cards,
Yeah.
so I think it was cool. A new mass killer, you can't go wrong with it. So we'll
No.
slide it at a 9.
Yeah. All right. So number 8, this just made my list because I was just able to watch it. Peter
Mm,
Pan's Neverland Nightmare. And this is probably one of the better IP films. Everybody talks about the IP films, all the Disney
hmm.
horror films that are coming out and all that stuff. Um, I think they did a really good job with kind of developing a new storyline and just making it something that felt like its own while it was also familiar, like utilizing familiar characters. It was dirty. It was gross. It was, brutal, had a
Hmm.
lot going for it. And so I think that was a very bold choice to go that hard and like serious, considering you're the same, brand that just made Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, and how silly those films
Yeah,
are. You know what I mean?
yep, definitely agree. Let's see. So for me, I had to switch that out. I don't really care for the
Yep.
Pooniverse as much, but I'm gonna roll with The Long Walk. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I
I
think
didn't get
that
to watch that. So that probably would have made my list. That was one of those I acknowledged. Like, I,
yeah,
yeah.
it was great. You know what I mean? I think it was a good film to watch in the theater. I don't think that I would watch it again. And that's another film that kind of like, you know, kind of goes like a different way because you're going off of a novel. You know what I mean? So
Yes.
now
Yeah.
it's like it's harder to kind of get what you have. I mean, there's people complaining, well, this character didn't have this done to him, and this didn't do this. It is what it is. It's just to be entertained. I think the promotion that they had was like cool for the film. They had treadmills set up before to sit there and have you walk at a certain speed for one of the premieres and stuff. So I think it was cool. You know what I mean? So
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll go with The Long Walk.
Okay. And I don't think you're going to be alone on that. I'm sure that made a lot of people's lists. But
Uh,
that's definitely one of the more solid films. All right. Good Boy made my list.
mhm.
And I freaking love that dog. The storyline is good. And I just think it's a really interesting, unique film. The way they use there's no, like there's long periods of time with no dialogue, but it feels like I said this before. It feels like he's talking with his eyes and like um
Yeah.
now. I just got to point out, Guts podcast had a lot of bad things to say about that dog, and they that really broke my heart to hear that. So I forgive them, but
I
yeah.
let them know. And it's just like Dave would like that film.
So yeah, that made my list.
There we go. So you're going Good Boy.
Good boy for number 7, I think, right?
Good Boy number seven.
Yep.
Let's see. So for my number seven, it's a toss up. It's hard because I know this film had a lot of hate on it, but I think that overall, to me, I thought it was a decent film. And I think that Blumhouse did like an okay job with it. But I'm gonna go with The Woman in the Yard. And so I think that the message that they had, like, kind of went over some people's heads. I mean, because you would sit there and see so many different people's reviews on it, and they would sit there and say, "Oh, da 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 da," da. And then it's like I understand, I get it, but I think just going into it, just have an open mind. I think that you would enjoy it, but it's not bad. It's on the list. It is what it
I,
is.
I the only thing that lost me was the ending.
Mm,
Other than the ending, I enjoyed that film and I was pretty, locked in for it, most of it. The ending got a little like convoluted and
mm.
confusing when they're in the attic, that whole attic scene, I think it was. I can't remember. It feels like it was a long time ago, but I remember that scene. Um, yeah, kind of lost me, but I really liked it up until that.
Yeah. Uh, yeah. It was well, not bad.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's, yeah, I understand. All right. The next one, pick number 6, Final Destination Bloodlines.
Mm,
I don't know that this would have made a number 6 in most years of my list, because it, like, it's Final Destination. It is what it is. You know what to expect, and yeah, the my only issue with this film really was like some of the first scene felt too computer generated. Like there was
mm,
so much going on in that first scene, but there was some fun things that kind of redeemed it that happened later. Um, the dumpster, like there's one scene where the girl gets like hit with a soccer ball, then ends up getting flipped into the dumpster, and that just had me dying laughing because it was just so like out of the blue, like not what I was expecting. So I
mm.
think they kind of they learned how to play with us a little bit, like the things you expect. No, look over here. Now it's going to be over here instead.
Yeah.
I mean, it was fun, and it was, I guess, everything that you want a Final Destination movie to be. And then we have, of course, the Tony Todd scene that meant so much to all of us. So there was a lot to work with that one, and yeah, that's my number 6.
That's also my number six. I was able to check that out in IMAX, and so that was definitely a game changer, being able to see a Final Destination film in IMAX. Yeah, it just took control. I mean, I even we had Jeffrey on the show, a while back, and he told us how, the creators of this film had, you know, interviewed for the role, I mean, for the to take the helms of the this franchise. And I think that it was just a cool story. And then ever since he said that, I was always just like, I gotta check this film out. Like,
Yeah,
what I mean, with the Zoom meeting that they
right.
pulled and shit. Um, yeah, so even whatever they're gonna do next, like I'm definitely locked in. I think that was, really cool to, start off, with what was it, Seattle, right? With the needle, the sky needle and shit like that. So
Yeah, I forget. It was supposed to be a version of that. I can't remember where exactly it was because I remember I looked up
yeah.
to see if it was, it was real, wherever it was supposed to be, and it wasn't.
Mm,
They created it for that. But I mean, it was definitely interesting. They put a lot of work into it, a lot of
mm.
creativity with the kills and everything like that. Um, yeah, like it's
Yeah,
everything you expect Final
the
Destination to
idea
be.
came from the sky needle. So
Yeah,
it
of
was just
course.
like
Yep.
from just I had gone like a few years ago and was up there. So it was just like being up there and then just kind of like watching that scene. I was just like, oh shit, like
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know.
They always tap into a fear, and that's definitely, if you're up there, that's a thought you have. It's like, oh my god, what if something happens?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So cracking into the top 5, this is where I think they really start to get solid.
Mm,
So my number five, and again, all these kind of feel like they could have been interchangeable, except for my number one. Um, Ugly Stepsister made my top five. It's to me, it's a great film, really creative, beautiful, like costume design, set design, all that stuff. Just overall quality film. And I just love the spin on we're going to put the spotlight on the ugly stepsister and
mm,
kind of show her plight and like what makes them so mean, I guess. And you kind of see the treatment from the mom and the crazy extents they go to, like, try to be pretty and things like that. It's just a really interesting and unique and gross film.
mm. I agree. I'm gonna also slide that film into that slot also. It was definitely a fun time. And I think that's the thing. It was like we were able to screen that like a while back before it came out.
Mm-hmm.
And so, going into that, like you said, when we were even voting for like the costume designs and everything like
Yeah,
that, it like that was one of the films that came up. So, yeah, and I think a lot of people would definitely agree with that. I think some people even have that in their top three
they do.
for
Yeah, I've
this
been
year.
seeing some lists, and that's definitely up there for them. So, and here's the reason why I didn't make my top three is
Mm,
because there is some quality here. So, number four, Bring Her Back.
yeah.
And again, like I said, these could be interchangeable. This could have also been like three or even two. Um, but the reason why I put it at four is, I mean, super solid film, but it is bleak. It is hard to watch in some scenes. It does
Mm,
leave you feeling kind of depleted and just yeah, it's dark, but it's so good. It really is a good film.
yeah. For me, I'm gonna have to slide. Let's see. What was it? Because you put what number were we on?
We're on
That's
four right now.
four.
Yeah. Yep.
I'm gonna have to put Together. I think that overall that could have been up a little bit more on the list for me, but
Mm-hmm.
I put Together there, and I thought it was like a decent film. It's not perfect, but it was fun. It was a
Yep.
fun film to see in the theater. Um, to see what Neon has been able to do for all these projects, promoting it. I had fun with this one, so I'm gonna slide that there.
So I didn't get to see together.
Mm,
So that is why that will not be on my list. But I hear good things. So all right. So that's number four. Number three for me is Frankenstein. I really, really enjoyed Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein that you can watch on Netflix. I really wish I got the theater experience because I
mm,
can only imagine what that would have looked like. Set design is outstanding. He pays so much attention to detail of sets and creating like this beautiful environment that just turns to rubble in some scenes. And I really liked that they captured to me the essence of the Frankenstein story, which is truly a story about neglect, abandonment, playing God, and all those, crazy themes. They really went for it in this versus like, the Frankenstein that we know, which,
yeah.
touches on those things, in the older versions of it. But he really went for it in this one. And so acting wise too, I just got to say, like, the actor who plays Frankenstein, he's from Saltburn. I think he's from Euphoria. He was
Yep.
incredible in this. And then the name is escaping me of the other main actor, and it's unfortunate because he deserves a lot of credit. Oscar Isaac, is that what his name is?
I'm not sure.
Something like that.
Oscar
But he was.
Isaac.
I hope that's it. He was incredible. Just such a great performance.
Mm.
So yeah.
All right. So for me, the number three spot is gonna go to Weapons.
Okay.
Yeah, see, I'm going with Weapons at three. Um, I thought it was a fun movie. I think that, the idea of everybody saying it was a perfect film, I don't think it was. Like, you know what I mean? It is what it is. Everybody has their own opinions. But I just wanted to see them go a little bit more deeper with the story. Like, you know what I mean? I wanted to see them I wanted to see how she got the powers from the kids. Like, you know what I mean? To stay a little bit younger and everything. and kind of like feed off of them a little bit more. I think, and that's the whole thing that I always say. We always fall into the situation where it's like, I want the kids, I want to see the kids, and then it's like when a film gives it to me, it's like, what are you guys doing? Like, why are you
Yeah,
guys
yeah.
doing this?
Right.
But I think that they could have did something to kind of like show a little bit more how Gladys becomes, who she was, or just I think, and then I think it was just like some chapters kind of like went on a little bit too long. And so, like I said, it was a good film. It was a great film, but I don't see the perfect situation
I
thrown
I,
into
th-
that.
I think you're gonna get that film about Gladys, aren't you?
Yeah, I think
Or
they're doing a prequel about it. At
yeah,
first, he didn't want to do it, and so I think now it's just like
yeah. He
everybody
kind of
wants it, so it's like he has to.
has to. Yeah.
Yeah.
That made my number two.
Okay.
I did enjoy that quite a bit. I think it's a great showing of storytelling of, someone who knows how to craft and weave together, a good story. People want original stories and we got it here. So I really enjoyed that aspect of it. I agree on a lot of your points. That
Hmm.
definitely some of the segments felt almost like the like a detour again, like they went on too long, or just kind of felt like I don't know why this is happening or why we're seeing this. But he does a good job of always weaving it back together and kind of showing us like, oh, this is why this was introduced, or this is why we saw that. um
Yeah.
I enjoyed it quite a bit. uh yeah, so that's my number two film.
Yeah. So just think too, because there was a chapter for Gladys, but he cut it.
Yeah,
So now you think about that because it was
I
just like,
wonder
oh,
if he didn't know how people were going to receive that character.
yeah, he didn't. And then so it was just like to that point where it was just like they
Huh.
they kind of felt like, oh, okay, well, let's take this out. And I
Sure.
think that was probably like the best move to do because if they didn't do that, then I don't think the film would hit the same.
Yeah, I kind of think that, as much as we want more of her, if you show too much too, though, it could suffer. So we kind of are just left with this, like, I don't know what's going on with this lady, but she is crazy
Mm.
and
And
I
it
love
paid
it.
it paid off big too because a lot of people didn't even know who the actress was until, you know, after because they didn't really promote her in the film.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
so when it came out and everybody kind of like seen her and then they seen her without the makeup and they were like, "Oh my God, it's her." And then
Yeah.
so you know what I mean? So it definitely worked.
Pretty wild.
And I
Yeah.
think I told you about that before where it was just like he gave her like two ideas and said, "Which one do you want to roll with?" And then
Yeah.
she picked one and then that was it. So
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
It's wild. All right. What do you got at number two?
Number two, I'm gonna roll with Bring Her Back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think that I had fun with that. The brothers did it again. You know what I mean? So I had a fun experience watching it on the big screen. Did you watch that in the theater or no?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. So yeah, it's just like, they get us with these little fucking crazy little fucking things they did with that fucking knife and everything. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I think it was a cool story because like me and you, we both work in the field with kids and stuff like that. So, you kind of we don't see this type of stuff, but you see families with issues and stuff like that. So it's just like it hits on the head a little bit different for us.
For sure. Sally Hawkins also, like, amazing
Yeah.
performance. Just all the performances were great, but she really was like a standout, I think.
Hmm.
All right. Well, that brings us to our number one pick. And I think this isn't going to be a surprise to anyone who's actually listened to anything of ours over the past year. So Sinners, number one.
You're rolling with sinners.
I'm rolling with Sinners. I
There you
don't
go.
I don't see any other option. It was a great film to me. It was just an experience. You left feeling something, you left wanting to think about it, talk about it. We talked about it for months with people, and
Mm.
still going to talk about it.
I just noticed I fucked up. Fucked
You
up.
left off a film.
Yeah, Companion. I just noticed I left Companion off my list.
Okay. You can always slide that into a spot that it probably deserves to you.
What the fuck did I say? What did I pick?
So I would probably, if I were guessing, I would say assume you enjoyed Companion, probably at least five.
Yeah,
Slide Ugly Stepsister down for you, would you say? Put that into six.
yeah, because it was one of those films I had put in there. Yeah, but yeah, overall, Companion should definitely be in there. Um,
Yeah. Roll with it, man. I mean,
you didn't have that in your top 10?
I didn't finish it. So, and I, not that I didn't like it. I just got interrupted and I never got back to it. So I watched a good chunk of it, but I didn't feel authentic putting it on my list because
No, okay.
I felt like a phony fraud if I did that. So
Phony fraud.
I said I'm then keep it off my list. But it actually, like at the end, I made a little list of films I didn't get to, and I put that in there because even though I've seen a good amount of it, not enough to say I saw the whole film.
Yeah, I would. I would definitely put Companion. Yeah, top five. But yeah, number
Yeah,
one, Sinners.
yeah,
You can't go wrong with that. And I think that's the main film that a lot of people were discussing and kind of like going back and forth with. And, we had some friendly debates with people when we were out at Dead Beats, you know what I mean? And then
hmm
I definitely understand everybody's views and I mean, I'm not going against what you think a film of the year is. It's your choice, just like our choices are our choices. I'm not gonna
right,
sit there and say you're wrong. I think overall I haven't had like a theater experience like that in a long time.
exactly. That's 100% how I feel about it. Um, we talked about this a long, long time ago, and
Hmm.
I say it till this day. For me, if I leave a film and I'm like thinking about it as I'm leaving, and then I'm still thinking about it when I get home, and then I'm still thinking about it the next morning, that says something about that film.
No.
And that's kind of what I want from a theater experience a lot of the times. Not all the time. Sometimes I just want an Until Dawn, and that's totally fine. But
Mm.
when I'm thinking about like these top films, that's kind of what I'm looking for.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. I think a lot of people like throw out things where it's just like, oh, well, it was from dusk till dawn. They stole this, they stole that. I think overall, every filmmaker takes something away from something they
Right.
enjoyed.
Sure.
That's how we get all these projects. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It is what it is. And your favorite rappers, like Jay-Z would take Biggie Smalls' lyrics and put it into his shit
Yeah.
and still do it. But he's still labeled as one of the greatest rappers. It doesn't take anything away. It's just like you just like you. Like, you know what I mean? Or myself. It's like you take things that you love growing up and you put it into whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
That's what it's about. It's creating something. It's not like he didn't take everything step by step. It has a whole different story to it.
Right.
So it
I
is what
mean,
it
as much as he maybe
is.
borrowed from films, he also was very smart and he had a lot of like historical elements that he slid into the story and the characters and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like he did his work. It's not like the guy just threw together this like random assortment of things he had seen. He did work in developing a story that was smart, was entertaining, and I don't know, for a lot of people, I think it felt important too.
Yeah. It definitely was. And that's the whole, that time period and just placing everything together and
And it's
people,
commentary on music and culture and like stuff like that. It just yeah.
yeah. And I think people also want to see, a continuation on this film, but I don't think he wants to do it. You know what I mean? Because he was just like, I'm kind of done doing like sequels and stuff
Uh
like that.
I can only imagine.
And
I
so,
yeah, with the work that he's already done, but
hmm.
also I'm sure this project took a lot out of him.
Oh yeah.
Can only imagine.
Yeah. So I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, that's our number one pick, and it's Sinners. We're rolling with it.
Okay.
Um,
And just for everyone to be clear, so Brandon is now correcting and he is going Companion 5, Ugly Stepsister 6. Everything else is going to slide down one.
mm,
And I can't remember what 10 will you, but it's getting out. It's getting
it's
knocked
out of there.
out of the list. I can't remember what it was.
Yeah, I just
So
had a bunch
that,
of shit, just like filled them
yeah.
all in.
So I'm telling you that, yeah, like you said, those last 4 or 5 felt kind of like forced.
Yeah.
But the top 5 or top 6 for you definitely felt like those were the ones that, were impactful this year. I know I was talking shit at the beginning saying, this year felt kind of weak, but
Mm,
at the same time, I'm still glad to have 5 to 6 really, really impactful films. Even if, there's some fluff in there.
yeah. I think that's the main thing of everything. That's why I was saying for me, I would felt comfortable doing like a top five
Yeah.
because it was like a little bit too much. And there was a lot of like films that just were decent, like nothing crazy. Like I said, I talked about The Woman in the Yard or whatever like that. Like it's not a great film, but it's like still, it's like what are you gonna place in there from
Yeah.
everything else that we had? We had a lot of
Yeah.
things, but I think overall the top five are the films that really mattered this year,
Yeah.
and so
Absolutely. All right. Well, we can only hope that 2026 brings the same level of quality, if not better, to us. And I mean, we definitely want the same quantity. I'm not ever going to
mm,
complain about quantity. It's just that we also want quality.
yeah.
So no cash grabs. We want people to actually put time and effort in things, please. Like Scream 7.
Scream 7. I
We'll
don't
talk.
know. What are we
We'll
gonna
see what
see? What are
happens.
we gonna see with that? I don't know.
They're bringing everyone back from the dead. So yeah,
Nah,
no cash
nobody.
grab there, I'm sure.
It's not a
All
cash
right.
grab.
All right, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. 2025 has been a very important year in so many ways for us
Mm,
and connecting with everybody and staying connected with everybody. So thank you, everybody, for just, you know, keeping our community going and being a part of it.
staying locked in
Staying
and
locked
supporting us, listening
in.
to all our crazy rants,
Yeah.
reviews, and interviews.
Yeah. We appreciate it and we know it's a lot. So if you keep up with it, good on you.
Mm,
So thank you. And yeah, we'll see you next year.
take it easy.
See you.
Takes a lot of love for a person to do this.